Guys, I'm live. We're talking about celebrating and also how powerful we are. So that is what today's stream is about. But I'm also going to go over like some of the things we need to be aware of um, moving forward. And there's a reason for it. If you've ever been with a narcissist, if you've been paying attention, all of us have been gaslit to no end, thanks to this administration and the normalizing of abuse, right? And manipulation and lies. Like we have all been under constant assault. Yes or no? You guys relate to that? All right, I'll be here. Um, if you can relate to that, let me know. Because we have, like, I don't know how many times I've woken up in the last 10 months where you watch videos, you watch the news. I don't watch the news, I read the news. That way I'm in control of what I'm paying attention to. And it's one lie after another after another. It's gaslighting, it's name calling, it's attacks and smear campaigns, it's all the things. And you're like, oh my God, the world has lost its mind. Like we've lost the plot, we've lost our minds. The things being done between the frozen agents and these crappy policies and the profiling and now the food stamps and Medicare and ACA benefits, healthcare, like on all levels, many of us, especially those of you who are sensitive and empathic, have felt like you're just constantly barraged with one hit after another after another. Pretty soon you just feel like you're rolled. And I know a lot of people are feeling very helpless. I know the last No Kings protest that just happened October 18th, it brought a lot of people together and gave us a little bit of hope, but then they doubled down and things started to roll again. And then it just felt, it begins to feel, oh my God, I have no hope. What can we do to change this? We have no power. We do have power. And we saw that last night. And it will gain steam if we continue the narrative, if we continue to be aware of what's the next move. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about is what we can expect. If you have never been personally in a relationship with someone who is a narcissist, you may not know the game. And when it comes to leadership, the game's slightly different. The way that the abuse cycle works, slightly different. So I think we need to be somewhat prepared for it, because otherwise you're going to be taken off your grounding. And I want you all to be grounded as much as possible. I want you all to be grounded, to stay grounded, and to be able to stay empowered and continue to take actions moving forward that get you out of fear. I have a question for you, though, today, before we move on. I know fear has been one of the tactics used to control a lot of people, keep them home, and make them feel like they have no power. Hey, Go Live Vegas, how are you? Do you feel less fearful today? Yes or no? Put in the comments. Do you feel less fearful? Do you feel like you're just a little, even if it's just a little bit, more safe? Marta's saying yes. Yeah, me too. For real, right? Like when we have to be subjected to the constant things being pulled away if we do not do the things they want us to do, and then we have these ridiculous policies put into place and laws put into place and rights being stripped, you begin to get very afraid. And then it's like, okay, now I need to budget my butt off. Now I need to figure out how I'm going to feed the family, and of course, with the government shutdown, that did not help anything. And people having to go to work without pay, that did not help anything. And I just want to reassure everybody, like that video I put out, that prediction where Spirit said the government shutdown would end between the 7th and the 10th, they'd be forced to end it. It took me a week to share it, but I shared it when I started getting confirmations that will in fact happen. And today alone, I've seen a ton of confirmations that's, oh yeah, that's good. They're going to be forced into it. I was ready to buy a tent for real, not today. No, stand your ground. Stand your ground. We all have to, at this point, stand our ground. Whoever's watching over on, hold on, Facebook, say hello. I don't know if you're on my private page or my business page, but say hello. And whoever's here in TikTok, say hello. Double tap that screen, share this stream out. I'm going to share with you guys the things we need to watch for and what's going to happen kind of next. It's very interesting because because we have so many people in leadership positions in this authoritarian regime that are somewhat narcissistic. And we talked the other day, thank you, Marta, for sharing. Thank you, Go Live, for sharing about the rise of narcissism. Like, the studies are being done right now and have been done recently. There's a rise in narcissistic personality disorder, and people are emboldened to be that way, right? As empaths, as sensitives, as people who have a heart, who have compassion, it's very hard to watch because you start to feel like, oh my God, there's more of us or more of them than there are of us. And that's not true either. And when you start to feel like that, you do start to feel hemmed in, like there's no hope, right? There was something that happened in the 30s with the little mustache man that they felt the same way. We can learn from history, stick together, and move forward. But we do need to educate ourselves. We absolutely need to educate ourselves, because here's the thing that a lot of people don't talk about. A lot of people will talk about how to identify a narcissist and yada, yada, yada. And I think most of you know how to identify that. What a lot of people don't have an education on or knowledge about is what happens when you pull the supply, the feed that they've been getting from the control and the gaslighting. And that's what I want to share with you, because those are the things we're going to start to watch unfold rapidly over the coming days and the coming weeks. Hey, Margarita from Canada. Hello, hello, welcome in. So when we do what we did collectively, Go Live Vegas is saying, send me gifts. Send me gifts. Y'all can send a rose. You can send a popular vote. Send something in support of the live is always appreciated. Like, I greatly appreciate you guys when you do that. And it does help tell TikTok, share this live out. And I think this is stuff people need to hear. And I'm not trying to be egotistical. I'm saying I think people need to be prepared, because we've been on this flipping roller coaster ride, right? We've been on this roller coaster ride for 10 months now, and it's exhausting. But if we know what's coming and we know how to arm against it internally, then we can navigate these waters with so much more ease. So understand that when you have a movement, what just happened, whether it happens individually or happens collectively, like what happened with the vote and turning a bunch of the seats blue, and electing Wandani, whatever her name was, I can't even remember her name, Virginia. We have Virginia, New Jersey. Like, when we did all of that last night, and there are other minor positions too that were more on the blue side and the sane side of things, it happened because people were becoming resentful, right? Every time I buy coins, Apple charges you $9.99. If you go onto the website, tiktok.com/coin, it should not do that if you do it through a browser. And you get 25% more coins for your dollar. Like, it shouldn't do that. It depends on how you have your payment stuff set up. But Apple shouldn't be charging you like that. But in any case, and you're welcome to still just be here. I appreciate the support. Love. So when someone or a group of people hit this level of resentment because you've taken abuse and the gaslighting and all the bullshit for so long that you're like, I'm done. We're done. We did that last night. Do you agree? We did that. We voted that manipulative BS. We took away some of their power, a good portion of their power. The next step is then to be aware of how to stop engaging with them. I was watching, there's a girl here on TikTok. I wish I could remember her name. I reposted one of her videos, and she was saying, when you see these videos, and she was talking about the girl who did the blackface live, the rage baiting blackface live. She's like, do not name these people. Don't send people to their profiles. For those of us who are content creators and who are trying to spread positive messages and information, not to name them, because you don't want to build their platform. A lot of times they will do those things to gain more traction, more following. We don't want to support them, so we don't need to name them. And yet the information will still go out, and her video went viral, 3 million views. And she has a point. And that's the point too. When you are done with a narcissist and you take your control back from that narcissist, you have to become very indifferent to them. You have to ignore them, to cut the supply, the feed from them. You don't pay attention to them. You don't react and respond to them directly. You cut off all energy, all communication. Cut it off. As long as you're reacting emotionally, they are getting a feed. Their egos are getting puffed up. You are supplying them with the very thing that they need to survive. So we have to cut that feed from them, right? We're watching the panic, because this is what happens when a narcissist loses control. They go into panic mode, right? And we're seeing that happen in the news today. We've watched it with the news conferences. They literally are in panic mode. Oh shit, we're losing the narrative. We heard the orange ones say that. Oh, we're losing because of the government shutdown. Yeah, you are. Because you thought cruelty was going to keep people on your side. That's not how that works. But we don't want to keep sharing those things. We want to take and suck all of the life out and the oxygen out of all of their messages and keep powering the positive messages. That is how you stand up against their cycle. Right now they're panicking. But once they're done with the panic, and if those of you who've been with narcissists have been through this, put in the comments, share. Because I've been in narcissistic relationships with partners, but my mother was a narc. So I've been through this personally. I had a narcissistic boss. I know how they are, right? We're going to start seeing the backpedaling, because that's what they do. They backpedal. Stabby Unicorn, what's up, girlfriend? Welcome in. It's good to see you. When a narcissist knows they're losing ground and losing power, they backpedal. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? All of a sudden, first they panic and then they start to backpedal. We are celebrating what just happened last night with all of the votes in the elections. But we're also, I'm informing everyone of what we need to watch for next in the narcissistic cycle, since a bunch of the leaders are narcs, and how it plays out in leadership and politics. So that we can keep our momentum going, and so that we can keep our hope going, and so that we can make change. It's an amazing thing, I think, personally, to watch, especially when I help a client gain the confidence and empowerment to leave an abusive narcissistic relationship, whether it be a family member or partner. But to watch a nation start to exit out of that authoritarian dictatorship and narcissistic abuse makes me freaking happy. giddy. No, we can't stop. This is the beginning, which is why I want to talk about this today. What to watch for, right? They're panicking today. You're watching it. You're watching the news conferences. They are panicking. And then there's going to be the backpedal, because that's what narcs do. When they lose control of you, after they're done panicking, they backpedal. They start to change the narrative and the story. Tell me if you guys remember this who've been in narc relationships. Once they lose control of you, then they start saying, I never said that. I never did that. You're remembering it wrong. Yes or no? Had a boyfriend that was. I had to cut the cord. I know. I'll go to his grave. Oh, yeah. But they change the story. They change the narrative, and they try to make you think you're crazy. They start saying, no, we didn't do that. I didn't say that. Oh, no, you misinterpreted that, right? Then they want you to prove that what they said is what they said. And when you call them on their stuff, if you call them on it, and the whole entire nation is going to be calling the Republican Party and this administration on it, hey, Sky, because people have been suffering. So you know the words he said, well, yeah, people have to suffer for a little while for us to make the changes we want. Remember those words? He can backpedal. Gonna change the narrative on it. That's coming next. And literally it's crazy making stuff. Because you're like, no, that's not what happened. Right? Now when that doesn't work, when the backpedaling doesn't work, and the smear campaigns that were done prior no longer work, they find new targets to smear. So a lot of people were saying, well, this government shutdown and everything else with the healthcare and da-da-da-da-da, a lot of that was smoke and mirrors to keep the Epstein files from being released. And I mean, it's been, what, over a month now? And the Epstein files, the demand for them to be released has quieted down so much, right? You guys agree? Everyone was hyped up about, like, he's in the files. Press and Bondi about the files, where's the files? And it's gotten almost like I barely see anything about release the files anymore. I don't know about you guys. Tell me, do you guys see that on your timelines? Haven't seen it in the news. It just quash. That is part of what they were doing. But that was only a part of it. That's a part of the equation. There's so much here that they're trying to hide from the American people. And again, it's not just coming from the administration. It's coming from the super wealthy that took part in those nasty things sometimes, but I attribute it to the elections. Yeah. It amazes me that it has quieted down as much as it has, which means we have to amp it back up again because they don't want us to. They don't want us to remember that we're still waiting on the release of the Epstein files. You know, those things that you promised. But see, we already saw him do the backpedal on that. Oh, why are you guys still talking about that 5 years later? Wait a minute, you ran on that. You ran on that you were going to release them. Hey, Amanda, what's up? It may pick back up. I hope that it does. But see, this is the thing we have to look for, especially when you're talking about a narcissist or a group of narcissists that are leaders and in positions of power, but even in family, because we're coming on the holidays, so y'all need to be prepared if you have narcs in your family. They change the narrative after they panic. They go on a new smear campaign. So, it's been funny enough, James Comey, and now the judge in the James Comey case is like, This whole indict first, investigate second thing doesn't fly, right? The whole thing with Jack Smith, I don't know if you guys have been following that story. That one excites me because he's like, go ahead, try to indict me. Yeah, let's do that. Come after me. I'll release everything that didn't get released to the public and put it in court records so that the public can see it. That excites me. He's excited for that. Jack Smith's a smart damn dude. I want to hear him talk too. Seriously. Like, when you call a narc on their bullshit, they panic. And suddenly, he's not going after Comey and Jack Smith publicly anymore, is he? He's not sparing those two anymore, is he? But a couple of weeks ago he was, until he realized the error of his ways. And that, oh shit, that's going to blow up in my face too. So see, we have to keep the pressure on now. We, the people, have to keep saying, when you come out of abuse, you got to push for the truth because it ain't going to be handed to you. You know they're going to lie. You know when you're dealing with narcissists that they're going to change the narrative, they're going to smear you, they're going to project everything that they've done onto you, right? A lot of times they end up telling the truth by projection if you just know they're talking about themselves and not you. So this ought to be fun, but there's a lot about what's about to happen that I think it's going to spin some heads, right? They're going to try to evade any kind of accountability for what happened. They're already doing that. They're going to try to reassert shame, which they are already doing. Like, I've been through this cycle so many times, I can't even tell you. Like, so many times been through this with people. They literally they're in panic mode. The party is falling apart, imploding, and splitting right now, for sure. But one of the tactics we're going to see too is the minimization of the effects of what they have done to the American people. They're going to minimize. But right now it's become uber obvious. When you've got planes near crashing, you've got airport lines through TSA, so bad. You can't minimize the effects of that. You're crashing healthcare, you're crashing out housing, you're crashing out farming, you're ruining the tourist industry, you're ruining the airline industry. Like, eventually you all have to be accountable, right? Eventually. Yeah, and then the ICE stuff that's going on and the court actions about that too is coming back to bite them in the end. I don't know about these little frozen agents. I'd quit while I'm ahead. But they won't, because they have that much hatred in their hearts. You just saw a new one today. I've seen several, but they are getting prosecuted. They are cases now where they are actually getting prosecuted for breaking into people's houses without a warrant. They don't have the right to do that. Arresting and detaining American citizens. They do not have the right to do that, right? The inhumane conditions that they put everyone under, and then the UN putting America on the list of unsafe nations and committing inhumane acts. Yeah, like, these things are happening, and they are going to try to minimize all of these things. I don't know if you guys saw, I was watching a news report where the FBI has put out some sort of a warning about robberies taking place and assaults taking place by people posing as ICE, because ICE doesn't have to, they don't have to clearly identify who they are. Hey, Ashley, what's up, girl? They arrested a lady off the street after I saw that one hitting her car, the black car where they flipped a Yui and they ran into her and then pulled her out of her car. Yeah, that was horrible. That was horrible. But no, the FBI is actually warning. And so, with them brandishing things that say police on it when they're not actually police, or federal agent when they're not actual agents, right? They're part of an agency. They're not federal agents, trained federal agents. They're getting this whole thing's flipping on its head right now. So they will try to minimize that. And then the questions will come out, because this is how a narcissist works. They will start asking questions that are literally aimed at making the victims, us, justify ourselves. So you're going to see that on videos. You're going to see it in comments on content, right? Be aware of that. But then the next thing, once that stuff doesn't work, the next part of the cycle is they escalate the charm and the lies. Like, if the testing of people doesn't work, the narcissist then goes into escalating the charm. They go back into the tactics of fake apologies. Those ones drive me crazy, right? I'm sorry. Like, they apologize without apologizing. It's always, I'm sorry, but, right? I'm sorry, but, like, you made me do it. They're going to keep the communication is, we really do care. And we're seeing that with Johnson right now. We're seeing it with Johnson. President Trump really wants to open the government. He realizes that it's hurting the people. He realized it when he said, don't reopen it. Come on. Like, we're not that dumb. Our memory's not that short. But that is one of the tactics. So recognize it. There's also, this is the time when they come in and promise change. We promise it's going to be different. So apologizing without apologizing and taking any kind of responsibility or accountability, and then comes the promises. But then they're going to try to gain more people on their side that people look up to. So watch for people like celebrities that people look up to, or whatever. They're going to try and get them to speak on their behalf, and defend them, right? They're going to try. The thing about it is, right now, is because the party is splitting apart at the seams, and the individual Congress and Senate members are having to deal with their own states getting decimated and their economies getting decimated. I don't know how easy that's going to be for them. But, I'm always surprised at the Red Hats and how they just honestly can't seem to put 2 and 2 together and come up with a number 4. I don't know about you guys, but like, they got an issue with simple math. Like being in it is like being in an abusive relationship. Absolutely. It is. We have been. But collectively, we've been going through it. And it shows itself slightly differently. So it's a little harder to, I guess, identify it, especially for people who've never been in a narcissistic relationship. Like, when they haven't been in one, they don't understand. This is the typical cycle, only it shows up differently. And I only know this because I have had a boss who was a narc, and then my mother, and then, relationships. I've had clients that are narcs too. They're never fun. It's never their fault. So they're going to try to get, like, they'll make it look like a negotiation. They'll make it look like they're doing things to care about us, right? Like, reopen the government. They're going to do that. Trust me. They're going to do that, and they're going to pump that up. It's what's going on beneath the surface that we have to really stay paid attention to, glued to. And when it comes to insurance, this is where we have to watch. Because I did watch some things come out of the Senate today where they were talking about extending the continuing resolution, so extending the CR, still trying to negotiate something with extending the subsidies. I talked to my insurance company today and I did renew, but my terms are shit. And I'll share with you guys in a little bit how much my stuff went up. And it's ungodly. The amount that I am going to have to pay for deductible and out of pocket is ungodly for what I'm earning right now. Just saying. Keep your eyes on that, because that battle is not over yet. But when they bring the government back and then start to release the SNAP benefits, and judges have ordered that they have to, right? They're going to be like, oh, we're doing it because we care. No, you're doing it because you were ordered to do it, and you doing it in the first place was wrong. Even the SCOTUS stuff, they're going to lose this whole thing with the tariffs. I listened to about an hour and a half of the SCOTUS stuff when I was working in my garden this morning. And the arguments from the Trump DOJ people, like, no. I believe that money's been spent. It doesn't, if it was, they're screwed, but they still have to release it. Whether they have to print money or what the hell ever, they have to release that money because it was already portioned out for SNAP benefits. And the government, right now they're talking about not paying furloughed workers who haven't been working, which is bullshit. Like, now you're going to cause a massive problem. Like, by no fault of their own, government workers have not been able to work because of you. So you can't sit there and then go, oh, and we're not going to pay you. That's just not, you don't get to make the rules up as you go. Right? Especially when you're building a $300 billion or $1 million ballroom. Is it million? $300 million ballroom that shouldn't even cost $300 million. Just saying. And then taking Air Force One and going home every weekend to golf on the American taxpayer dime. There's so many illegalities and excessive spending on top of like cash patel, taking private jets, government taxpayer money, and then them buying 2 planes. Don't forget about that. 2 planes. 2, not 1, 2 for Cosplay Christie, right? All of this in our face, and all part of that same narcissistic narrative. It's not that bad. We're not doing anything that bad. They're going to backpedal all that shit. And they're still trying to bury all of that. Just flood the zone. That's what Steve Bannon was saying, right? There's so much confusion coming out of that party. But as long as they're trying to regain control of the narrative that they have completely lost right now, they've lost the narrative for the majority of the nation, not the red hats. They still believe whatever the hell they believe. You could tell them that their blood is like green and they would believe it. That they have green blood, the rest of us have blue blood. Like, they would believe it. And I know some of you are going, no, our blood's red. Our blood's blue until it hits oxygen and then it turns red. But you could tell them that theirs is green. If this president and this administration said, what makes us superior and what makes us different is our blood is green, they would believe it. Just has to be said enough times and said on Fox News. That's how pathetic this whole, science doesn't matter, facts don't matter. So we've got to get to the point where we start to catch them up on their stuff. The tactics that they continue to use as that sort of devaluing process then begins when they can't grab that narrative is the triangulation. And what that looks like is projecting their stuff onto us, pitting one group against another, one candidate against another, the House against the Senate. Like, that is triangulation when it comes to how it shows up in politics and leadership, right? How it shows up in your personal life is one person goes and talks to someone else and tells them their side of the facts, which are never factual. It's all manipulated. And yeah, they gather the army around you and pit everybody against each other. That's how they maintain control. I look at people when they talk to me and I'm like, are you even real or AI? People have tried to say that on my videos that I'm AI. I'm like, no, I have a makeup filter on, but I'm not AI. Yeah. So when the triangulation and the hovering stuff does not work, um, then we will see more punishment coming. And I think that's later. That's coming more before we hit the midterms. That's going to escalate, though, especially through the winter, because they're going to be looking at whose problem it is. And I'm talking the billionaires, too. They're part of this narcissistic freaking tribe running the show. These data centers, I started to write a piece and I got so overwhelmed by it, I stopped writing it. If I showed you guys the map of the amount of data centers that are planned and some approved, it would blow your flippin' mind. You all know that data centers take an extremely high amount of water and an extremely high amount of electricity. Yes or no? Put in the comments. And this isn't just for the US. I mean, this is global. I will finish that blog post at some point and put it up because there is a place y'all can check the maps. I was shocked at how many are going in. Like, I knew that there were, I think, close to 55 of them between San Antonio and Austin, which we have a lot of land, but not that much to support that much. Like, we've been in drought for a long time. A sign that shows if a video is AI is noticing the neck doesn't move. The speaker doesn't swallow. Yeah, their eyes don't blink either, I don't think. But 55, think about that. But one of the other high areas, Virginia, and I know some of you in here are from Virginia, it's like shit. There's so many data centers. Like, the world map blew my mind. I'm like, how the hell are you gonna cool these things? And then the pollution that comes off of them, it's insane. That is the next crisis. But the billionaires want to have their data centers for their AI and surveillance and all of that stuff. Surveillance is going to continue to climb too, and we have to push back on that as well because they're lying about it. They are lying about it. And what they're using the surveillance for, you hear Trump talking about the digital ID. Oh, you're going to have an ID to buy groceries. Nobody uses their ID to buy groceries. Who are you kidding? The only people that need to provide an ID when they're at the store is if you're buying alcohol or cigarettes. Like, did you guys see that report on the news? I was like, what are you talking about? They want to use Ring cameras. They already are. They already have access to people's Ring cameras. Rita, what's up, girl? I have not seen you in so long. Welcome. It's good to see you. So I have a camera called an AOSU that I bought. I have two cameras. Really good resolution with night vision that runs on an SD card. I will not put it on the cloud. And you don't have to. And I own that. $59 one-time fee hooked up to my Wi-Fi. I own that camera. It isn't a monthly service charge, and it isn't on the cloud. So y'all, get off of Ring. Because yeah, I have heard a lot about Ring cameras. But when I was in the market to buy a camera, and it was when we were building my office out here, just so that anyone would be alerted if someone came through the fence or whatever. Because remember, I was staying out here when I was going through chemo. AOCs are amazing, and they are not on the cloud. Nobody gets access to them. So there's that. You shouldn't have to pay a monthly subscription membership bullshit either. Buy it once and it's yours. That's how I think about things. I'm so tired of this membership subscription bullshit. But they convinced everybody that we need that. I think I bought those on Amazon last year. But I can tell you from the standpoint of clarity, they're really good. And they record events because they happen. AOSU. We have ours that are hard. They're not wireless. We actually took electricity from my garage door opener and ran a line to the front of the garage, drilled a little hole, poked it through, hooked it up, hardwired it in. Super simple. And then when we built this, we just had the electrician run wire for it. It's super simple to get it hardwired to your house, and that you own it. Like, they don't get to take that. And it's like ours has the sensor light, so and it has different ways where you can turn it on or off for pet activity. You can set an intrusion area, so if someone comes onto your driveway, the lights come on. It even has this thing. I did turn mine off. I had it on for a couple days because I kind of want to annoy my neighbor who was being super nosy with our property. If you came into the intrusion area, a voice would say, "Alert, you have entered a surveillance area. Please back up off of the property." You could also record your own voice, but it has standard recordings. And then it had an alarm zzz, 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 that would go off and scare people. We had people stealing Amazon packages last year, so I left it on during that. But it is funny. The thing about that one too, it doesn't just record video, it records sound when an event happens. And when we had someone come trying to steal packages, they came up my side yard. I literally saved that recording and sent it to the police. And made a report because we got them on camera. We got their car on camera, and their license plate on camera. And the cops didn't do anything about it. But the point was, they didn't see. I don't know how they did not realize they were being recorded, because the camera moves. It's 360 degrees. It moves. It tracks. So to me, it's well worth it. But get your asses off of Ring, because they are using that as surveillance against us as well. And I don't trust any time that they can access our stuff without us knowing about it. Right? Probably I just, people are desperate right now, and I get it. So they are doing stupid things like stealing people's packages. Especially, and this happened, how you can set an Amazon delivery for 4 to 6 or 7 a.m. They were scoping the neighborhoods at 5 a.m., 4 a.m. when it was still dark out, trying to take things off people's porches that had early morning deliveries or food deliveries from Whole Foods and stuff like that. A lot of people have had their packages stolen. Yes. So I'm just saying, if you do need security, and I think we all kind of feel better when we have security, especially if we're away from our homes. AOSU just has an app you download on your phone. You can turn your notifications on or off, and it will buzz and tell you someone has entered the intrusion area, right? And then you open your app and you can watch what's going on, and you can then talk through your camera system to them. Ours is away from our front door, but it points at our front door when it needs to. It scans my whole thing, and it does what's called a cruise, where every hour I have it set to cruise and scan the entire area. So it goes from one side of my cul-de-sac next to my house, across the driveway and to the other side. So, and you can go in there at any time, like if you were out, and look and see what's going on in the front of your house. Because I'm back here in my office a lot, I, every now and then, if nobody's home, I will just turn on my app so I can see what's going on out front, because I can't hear anything back here, which is good when it comes to my dogs. But anyways, it's worth the money. Like, I didn't think it was very expensive, and the picture clarity is really, really good. Anywho, all right, so we've been through this cycle, right? As we're talking about, like, how leadership, how this leadership and this regime has used the narcissistic cycle of abuse multiple times, and we keep going through the cycles, right? After they backpedal and after they make their amends for all the bullshit they just put everyone through with the government shutdown, and they reopen the government, we still have to watch, and that's what I'm warning everybody of. But I also want to tell you, like, after that, come December, January, there's going to be more punishment, and then they're going to get nice again, because the midterms, the closer we get to the midterm elections. Like, they're going to play with the narrative enough times. This is what narcs do. It's like, let me try this. If that doesn't work, then let me try that. And if that doesn't work, then let me try this. Like, they'll try whatever they have to try to regain control. And we're going to watch this cycle move super fast over the next few weeks, for real. They're going to cycle through that whole fake apology, get the government open, it wasn't our fault, and then go into punishment mode because we voted blue. Right? And then they're going to go back into the financial manipulation tactics, the threats to make people scared again. See, right now, we aren't scared. Right now, we're having hope. Right? Right now, we have the blackout, the system scheduled for the 25th to the 2nd. Right? The administration doesn't care, but the billionaire companies actually do. They do. This is going to be one of the tightest Christmases probably in our entire lifetimes. Maybe not the boomers, but our lifetimes. Right? They're not worried about it on the governmental side of it, but the billionaire corporations are. And they're, so there's going to be threats there too with that whole thing. I hope they make $0 too. I hope everybody participates, and I think people need to understand that, as scary as it is to take and not go shopping, to me, I think it needs to go beyond blacking out the system. I think it needs to be like a national sick day for like a week. Like, we got to shut it down. We're seeing the results in the travel industry of what happens when shit goes wrong. We have the power to bring this to a screeching halt, and it may have to come to that. We'll see. I know that they're going to rapidly replace some of the cruelty that they're going to roll back over the ensuing days. You're going to watch these policies roll back quickly, but they will replace it. It's a temporary stopgap. You always have to be aware of that with a narcissist. Like, they promise you all kind of shit, and they apologize long enough to regain your either trust or to lull you back into sleep and control, and then they're right back at it again. And usually when they come back at it, they're less apologetic and a whole lot more cruel, right? With what just happened, I'm hopeful that these judges that have all of these court cases around the United States and the Supreme Court has the balls now to fight back and to go against the wishes of the people ruling right now, the far right and all of that stuff. That's my hope. Because then we can make a little more inroads into stabilizing things. So I'm telling y'all, like, we have got to not participate in their bullshit. We can't. I know it's infuriating. We have to expose their lies regardless. I know they're like, oh, if you're on social media, they're surveying you, you're getting put me on your damn list. I'd rather be on your list than not on your list, exposing your lies and protecting my fellow citizens from your bullshit. Put me on your list. I'm about to totally cancel Amazon because I just hear they're replacing half of their workforce with AI. They've put robots in a lot of their warehouses, yes. They're losing a lot of money already. I think people should pull the plug on them. I think people should pull the plug on a lot of these services. I think we do really good to go local. Like, how many of you guys shop in Asian grocery stores, small Asian grocery stores? Put in the comments. Let me know. If you already do, like on a regular basis. Stabby Unicorn, you're a smart cookie. You are a smart cookie. Here's the deal, you guys. I'm going to let you in on a little secret that most people don't know. If you go buy your produce and even your meat from an Asian grocery store, you are going to save a shit ton of money. Like, no lie. The cost of produce and even meat in an Asian grocery store is going to cost you far less. They don't have the big middleman and they don't have the huge profit margins. You want to save some money on your vegetables, your bell peppers, your salad stuff, go to an Asian grocery store. Buy from them. Yes, you do. It's fresh and looks beautiful. The meat is real as well. You're going to find stuff in there that you're like, what the hell? Why is there a tank of live frogs? Like, overlook that stuff. Just, you don't have to go there. And a bunch of snails like that, don't worry about that. And as far as like they eat the chicken feet. Like, they eat a lot of stuff that our culture, the American culture, does not eat. But I'm telling you right now, their produce is way cheaper. Way cheaper. Their organic, like eggs, way cheaper. Seafood is very good at Asian markets. Yeah. And I'm not talking about the big, like, in California and in Seattle. We had a store in Seattle called Wajimaya. They were expensive. California, it's called Central Market, I think. In LA is the Asian store there. They were expensive. I'm talking the smaller Asian grocery stores that are not chain stores. You can save a ton of money. The shrimp is really good. Like, they sell a lot of, because they eat a lot of fish as well. If you like noodles, noodle dishes, stuff like that, their prices are good. I'm just saying, like, if you're looking to save money and eat healthy, that is one way to do it. Stop going to your normal grocery store. Go to your Asian market. And you will be shocked at the price difference when you walk out that door of how much you get for what you spend. Little hint, just a little hint from me to you. Anywho, get ready, y'all. But please, like, I want everybody to feel good and celebrate right now. As someone who has left multiple relationships with people, from family to partners to jobs, where I had a narcissist running the show, I know how disorienting all of it can be. And I know the minute you get a breath of fresh air and something goes in your direction, you're like, relief. Finally start to feel like there's hope. Right now, everyone's feeling hope, but not everyone. We don't feel yet like we are who we are, right? Think about this. Like, our identity as Americans has shifted and changed, and the way we look at our country has just been decimated. That happens when you're in a narcissistic relationship too. You're just like, I don't even know who I am anymore. It takes time. And the reality is, we can't just completely disengage from the leader in charge, the leadership team in charge. I mean, that little Miller dude, he's like, he goes beyond a narcissist. I literally, I don't know, psychopath, sociopath, those words come to mind. Just saying. Like, I'm not diagnosing anyone. I'm just saying those words come to mind. The cruelty, the hatred, the divisiveness. Those are the words that come to mind. Right? We don't get to break up with that and never have to deal with them again. We still have to deal with them. They're still affecting our economy, our food supply, our medical insurance, our housing prices, same with the Teal and the Palantir and the Musk and all the other stuff. I read something today too that the orange one was trying to bring Musk back into the fold because he needs his money. I'm like, so predictable. So predictable. After you got done using him for the Doge stuff, you kicked him out, you badmouthed him, and now y'all are losing after last night. Now today you want to wind him back in. It cracks me up, and it's predictable, right? All of this stuff is very, very, very predictable. But what we have to watch for is becoming complacent. Because even if we're not engaging in their conversations, even if people are like, oh, we're moving in the right direction, my concern is that everyone just, they get lackadaisical, they go back into their shells, and they don't keep the pressure up. We have to keep the momentum and the pressure going. You guys know that, right? We have to bind together and we have to keep the momentum going. We have to keep having these conversations. We have to educate people who have never been in a relationship with a narcissist and explain to them these are the cycles: the gaslighting, the love bombing, the projections, the punishments, and then it starts again. Like, we have to let people know this is what to expect. They're going to pedal back. They're going to give us the government up and again. They're going to try and lull everyone back to sleep. They're going to blame it all on everybody else. Meanwhile, they're going to shove through more and more crap. We can't get comfortable. Until they're behind bars, we can't get comfortable. Like, until they are indicted and behind, we can't get comfortable. We can't. Because I know all it takes is one thing to turn the heat up so high that people just suffer more and more and more. Like, so I'm excited. I'm celebrating. I want you guys to celebrate. There is hope. We just saw what happens when people get pushed up against the wall for long enough. Now we have to keep reminding people you're up against the wall. Now what are we going to do about it? This is like a turning point. The astrology for this month is very good for these things being supported. Even the astrology, like I was checking the astrology today or yesterday about that prediction I made about the government reopening between the 7th and 10th. The astrology and the shifts with the retrogrades that happen around the 9th actually support the reopening of the government. The mess from all of that is going to be a problem, right? There's still mess to clean up. And of course, we're all left to pick up the pieces and clean up. But what I'm seeing with people, even in Hollywood, coming together and making food banks and stuff like that just warms my heart and makes me feel hopeful more and more. Like, we as people are good people. We are. But when people get scared and enraged and angry, and when you push them too far and they have nothing left to lose, that's when things get dangerous. And I think we saw a lot of that when things were escalating, but things have calmed down. All right. Do you guys want to know what the hell happened with my insurance? Like I talked to my agent about stuff because I was going to cancel my insurance. It's going to be a big mess because of the incompetence of the leadership. All right. Now, I'm on the ACA. I did not have insurance until June of 2024 because I was diagnosed with stage 4 lymphoma in April 2024. So between April and June 1st, I paid close to $12,000 out of pocket to keep my life alive long enough for my insurance to kick in and treatments to happen. But I was on the indigent program at that time because at the hospital, that was the only way that they would start chemotherapy. The oncologist their office wouldn't even talk to me until I actually had insurance. So I had to get insurance. So I'm on a plan that is based on when I was on disability and all of that stuff. So that plan, it changed this year, went up. 2026, so and it's not the premium that's the problem, y'all. This is what you need to watch for when you're looking at your plans for 2026, and I'll tell you what the agent told me. The premium is what it was before. Fine, great. But what went up, I had a $1,300 deductible for the year before, insurance kicks in. My deductible for 2026 went from $1,300 to $7,500. My out-of-pocket max went from, I think it was 5,000. It's at 10,000 now. So while I renewed and I will have insurance for 2026. Oh, and my copays. Before, it was pretty much my copays for hospital procedures, testing and stuff like that, like my MRIs, my CAT scans, my PET scans, all of that. The copays were pretty nominal. It is now 50% copays. I know it'd be better to self-pay, but for the moment, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to calculate some more things. I went ahead and had her re-up it for now. I don't plan to go to the doctor next year. I'm literally, what she told me is she's telling all of her clients, get everything, because I've already met my deductible and my max out of pocket for this year. She's like, get all your shit done before the end of December. I said, no, I plan to. I have a CAT scan, cancer checkup, 3-month cancer checkup at the end of this month. And then in December, I just booked out for my annual to make sure that I can get my thyroid medication prescription, blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to tell my oncologist at this upcoming visit, like, don't expect me to come back for freaking PET scans and CAT scans every 3 to 6 months. Ain't gonna happen. This is not gonna happen. I lived with a huge ass tumor for almost 2 years. It'll be okay. Plus I have Rife. I can take care of myself now. Like, I'm well aware. But so I'm telling you guys, because what she told me, she said they're not going to cancel the ACA subsidies. They're doing that for the top earners, because apparently, I did not know this, apparently there were people that were making $200,000 and above getting ACA subsidies. They're taking those away, she said. Rife. So yeah, look up Royal Raymond Rife, or just go to my website and look up the health tab, and it talks all about what Rife is. Rife is energy, frequency, healing. I have scalar, I have plasma, I have cold laser, I have all the Rife PEMF. It's frequency healing, electromagnetic frequency healing. Anyways, she said that they would not cancel and remove all of the subsidies, but they are removing it from those people. But when we talked about like how ridiculously high my deductible is, I was like, so I have to spend $7,500 before my plan will pay for jack shit. And she said, basically. I said, so I have insurance for what reason? She said, well, Bernadette, you just recovered from cancer. Think about how much it would have cost you for your chemo, your radiation, your surgery. I said, oh, no, I understand. Literally $1 million. I get it. But if that doesn't happen, and I'm just going to bank on that not happening, and I don't have some catastrophic car accident where I need emergency surgery, I'm not going to use this plan. It will be my backup insurance plan if something happens. To where like Bernadette is unconscious and gets taken to the emergency room and she's in a trauma ward. That is the only time that I will end up using this plan. For real. Because, yeah. But I am going to keep it for right now because I'm only a few months out from a clean, clear cancer diagnosis. So I don't know about the rest of you, but from what she told me, premiums have gone up, but that's not where people need to pay attention. She said, pay attention to your deductibles, your max out of pocket per individual or family, and your copays, because that is what astronomically went up for everybody. And it took us an hour to get my stuff locked in because the screen kept disappearing. She's like, this is where, in the end, we had to call the marketplace to lock it in. Because my plan, even parts of their website were not working. So, good luck. She, funny enough, she was like, you do natural health practitioner stuff? I said, yes. Can I refer you out? I said, yes. She was, what do you do? And I told her biomagnetism therapy, Rife therapy, and health coaching. And she's like, I have a lot of clients I can send your way. Everybody's looking for someone like you. I said, no, I realize that. She goes, you do life coaching too? Yes, I do. She goes, I'm going to send a bunch of people your way. I was like, that is fine. Don't even have to live in the state or be local. Like, honestly, they don't. I can work on them long distance unless they have serious stuff, and then they have to come into the office. But she said a lot of people are looking at trying to get their health in order, and that is exactly what Spirit told me 3 months ago. Double down on the house stuff. Double down. I invested more money in my equipment so that I could actually help more people at one time because of that. So yeah, that's what we're looking towards 2026. And we're going to have to keep fighting for the right, like universal health care. I did see something about single payer health care. That conversation is on the table right now for the US. Eventually they're going to have to go there, but I don't know that it will happen during this administration, not with the way things sit right now. Maybe after the midterms. That's hopeful, but still legislation and an actual plan, because there's so much division, dissension, that is going to be a problem for everybody. So in the meanwhile, y'all get healthy. Use your personal agency to get off as many of your prescriptions as you can, because those prices are not going to come down either. That's the other thing. Just watching what insurance has done with homeowners, auto, and health insurance, it blows my mind. Like, blows my mind. how much we pay out for just those three things, that then once you use it, they raise the cost. Right? I've never used my homeowners policies ever. I have no claims on any of my homeowners policies, and yet every year it goes up. I'm like, it's ridiculous shit, but it is what it is. So anyways, any questions, y'all? Do you have any comments? Anyone want to come up and talk? I'm more than happy to bring you up. I hope this has helped us at least to know what we have to watch for the next few days, few weeks, few months. Keep the pressure on. I hope that everybody does that, so that we can continue to turn things, change things, and not be on the defense, be more on the offense. I'm going to end my stream over on YouTube and Facebook. You guys know how to get in touch with me over there. Go to my website, bernadettegoulda.com. But hang on here.